Hello everyone and welcome back to my studio. Today I want to show you how I paint grapes, and I have some dark color, not very dark, it's kind of between red and purple color, so it's not purely like purple grapes, they're more reddish and they have some orange. So I will show you how I'm starting from the very beginning. So first thing, I use this brush just to prepare the contours of my grapes, and for that purpose I will use a very thin mix of ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide. So I'll prepare a dark contour for the grapes, and then so approximately here is my tabletop, so I'll just prepare tabletop first, and I will do the contour first, and then I will mass in the grapes themselves. So they're kind of here, so there will be cast shadow there, but I'm not painting it yet, so it's just kind of a rough idea where my grapes, and then I have two separate grapes that are a little closer, kind of overlapping each other, and again there will be cast shadows and the foam shadow from the grapes as well, and on the grapes, so there will be some shadows in here, but I'm not going to mask those with small brush. So this is the brush I did, and I probably will not use this brush anymore, so I'll put this brush away. And now I'm going to use a bristle brush that I'm going to mask my grapes with. So I'll use this palette just to show you how I mass in. So I use ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide. Sorry, not transparent red oxide, alizarin. But I may add a little bit of transparent red oxide in it and a little bit more of ultramarine. So that's my mixture, this kind of dark purple color, but it's slightly warm, that's why I added transparent red oxide to it. So I'm doing like squinting and seeing which is the darkest one. Where it's darker, I'm adding more ultramarine. And there is one grape here, so I'm painting them as a mass at this point, and then I will be adding the required light or dark. This is the main kind of color which I paint more into the dark rather than into the light, because it's easier to bring it from dark to light. So this is a cast shadow, and cast shadow I'm adding more transparent red oxide. So it goes down there on the table, and then under these grapes it goes past the grapes. So I'm going to clean my brush, and hopefully my palette doesn't fall. I think at this point I'm going to also do tabletop. So I'm mixing some grays. I had some grays left over from my previous painting, so I'm mixing it in here because it will be easier for me to do cast shadow. So I'm adding a little bit more white and a little bit more light color in here as well. So gray you can really do from any colors. It could be blue and brown, it could be orange and blue, depends what kind of gray you want. Maybe I should do a separate video on different grays, and this one is on grapes, so it's almost rhyme. So there will be some cast shadows there. So I'm going through here and I'm wiping my brush as I go. So it's a cool day. I have daylight as always most of the times, and actually I have a little bit of light from lamp, but I turned it off because it was sunny, then clouds came and I decided to leave it with daylight. So I'm doing tabletop and adding a little bit of yellow ochre and a little bit of white, just to warm it up a little and to light it a little. And I will do the cast shed on the table a little bit better later. So for now I want to just do tabletop. And then I have a slightly cooler background, so I'm using some paint gray. Actually I'm mixing it in this one, using some paint gray because it's gray background. When I squint, it's like a cool gray with some lights in it. So I'm mixing this in as well, going around my grapes. I'll clean it up a little better. And now I just need to do a comparison of colors and values. So a little bit more white in it. And I'm using my other palette as well, keep forgetting. So there is more light here. This cool gray background. I'm using a little bit of thinner just so it would glide better. And it's more white and more blue in this area. I'll show you a palette. I'm very sorry I didn't show. So this is gray color, and this is a little bit cooler one, and this is a little bit lighter one. And I use this color called paint gray for this. Then I'm using more white and some brown mixed into it, but that's okay. So again, for my tabletop I would add, now I see comparison and I see that my tabletop is actually lighter and even warmer than I did before. So I'm adding a little bit of that in here. And behind the grapes. So I think that's majority of the, so I'm adding a little bit more gray, and this is my tabletop. I added yellow, ochre and white, and this is paint gray and white. So paint gray is an interesting color. It's sometimes good to add it, so I'm just using some gradation here for the background. So I'm still using bristle brush. So I'm going to do my other grapes. I just realized I didn't paint those two. So these two grapes, one a little further. So I'm using alizarin, and I added a little bit of cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow dip, so its color looks like this. So if you compare, this is, and actually more alizarin, this alizarin with a little bit of white, and this is the same with cadmium yellow dip. So I will do lighter parts of the grapes, because I think these grapes have more orange in them than actually more more orange and more blue. Sometimes grapes have different variations, and some of them have a little bit of even red under them, so And at this point I will swap my brush. So this bristle brush is good to some point to me when I'm messing it, but at this point I don't need it anymore. I want a softer brush, and actually I decided to go this time for this rosemary ivory filbert. It's synthetic, but it's quite steady. If you look at it, has a good tension, but at the same time it's soft. So I didn't try it before. I think I tried different brush, but I want to see how it will work for me. So I'm using cadmium red light. That's how it will look on palette, and a tiny bit of cadmium yellow dip. That's how it will look on palette. And I'm going to put where I see on some grapes, where I see that glow under. I have to squeeze more alizarin crimson, actually, just to have more color here. And I think this synthetic brush might not work for me. I may swap it to softer one, but I just still want to see what I can do with it. So I'm mixing more of darker color now, just to re-emphasize some darker shapes here. I will see how this brush will work for me or not. So it's okay that some background color in it, because grapes are normally, like, you have some reflected background color in them. I may do a little bit darker in here. And I just realized that I need to correct this area, because that's where my grapes finish. I'm going to paint there, but at the same time I don't want to lose my cast shadow here. I will use a little bit of tabletop color just to make sure that I don't lose that either. And then I will do a little bit of contour with background, how I normally do, just to see. Still my bristle brush, and now I'm going back to my, because I don't want to mix two colors, so there's a little bit of red there. So I'm squinting for the values. I know that my darkest darks are here, and again I need to squeeze more of ultramarine, yeah, because otherwise I'm going to lose my shadows. Squeeze a little bit of ultramarine blue and wipe my hands, because they got a little bit dirty. So I'm mixing a little bit more paint here, ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, and squinting, doing my shadow there, shadow for inside grapes, but I don't see that well. Then I'm going with the brush very carefully through some cast shadows here and here, while I have this dark color. So I'm wiping my brush and cleaning it with my Gamsol or like thinner, so it will be clean. And I decided, I think my softer, very soft brush will be better in this situation for putting the most lightest ones, the glow and the light colors. So I'll go again here so I can see some alizarin and red in here rather than glow. Yes, definitely alizarin, better color here and here on top. So I'm using alizarin crimson and a little bit of cadmium yellow dip, so it creates this cooler red. So I'm going on top of these grapes a little bit. And then this one at the background has a little bit white in it, so I'm using this even cooler. When you add white, it adds more coolness as well. So I'm using that on some of the grapes because my light from the window is cool. Putting that brush back, fixing a little bit of shadows here, and continue with that color again, the same color. It's kind of cool pink color. I don't do all grapes the same because they all look different. Like some of them has more light, some of them has less light. So I'm trying to kind of have variety with the grapes. So this one has even more cool to it. I may add a touch of blue, so it will look a little bit of purple, like this, because I think, and I will bring it up in value as well, so I add more white, so it will be lighter. Same I do with this pink and see how it works. So add a little bit of cooler purple, because I see that background grape has this cool purple, plus it has this dusting that some of the grapes have, majority of grapes have, but I just try to paint what I see, so I don't see that huge amount of dusting on all of them, but I see the one that closest to me. So I'm mixing cooler, but not too cool, not too blue, I mean. Yeah, so a little bit dusting on the background grape as well. And I'll see what happens if I add more blue. Will the dusting look better? And of course I will do highlights later. So there is some dusting on this one and this one. Kind of a little bit on this. The other thing I want to try, see, so I'll try to put little highlights on each of them. So this one is not a very pronounced highlight, but this is a very good highlight. So I'm going to put more paint. And I can always paint around highlights as well. So just have to hold my palette still. Paper towel and take a little break and see how they look with highlights. Yeah, I can see that I can correct my highlight a tiny bit. So I'm going to do this one. I will do a little bit less highlight, and this I will do a little bit darker and a little bit of gradation. So this grape has a lot of glow, so that previous color mixed red and orange and cadmium yellow dip, this one, I'm going to add more glow here. So I can see some glow in this one as well. And then at the same time I want to deepen some dots in here around. So So definitely this brush looks better for me. So again, working with some pink, cool pink, and then try to make it tiny bit blue. I don't want to lose all my color with white, so this is what I'm mixing. So that's a blue and some pink. I don't want to lose color. So again, I'm going to clean my brush and do more the same color, alizarin, and actually this background is different. It's a different type of, different shape, because that grape is a little bit overlapping. There is one more grape. I think I kind of messed this one a little bit different. I'm just going to do a little correction on the shape of this one. Using the same pinks and reds and oranges, so I'm working with the same colors. So there is a warmer color here that shows a glow, a little bit of glow. I'm adding it here as well. And then there is a little bit of cooler in the light, so I'm adding that cooler pink as well. And I think there is more glow on this one as well, because like light kind of passing through the grapes a little, almost like through the glass. So I'm adding a little bit of cadmium red light and cadmium orange. I'm going to show it. So once again, so this is a warmer color that I'm using for glow, and these are cooler pinks and cooler blues that I use for light that falls on the grape. So I'm adding a little bit of glow here, because I can see it on this side passing through. At the same time, I don't want to lose my cast shadow, so I'm going to not change, but just adjust a little bit. So it's kind of work in process. You do one thing and then you have to adjust the other thing. I'm trying to have, like I say, a critical look at it now and see which ones need adjusting. Like I said, some of them are very dark and some of them are not as dark, so mixing the same color with alizarin and ultramarine, alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue, the dark one. Sometimes it's hard to hold everything in one place. So going through the grapes, that darkest part. And then I'm going to do my other two grapes as well. So really the same principle. I'm using cooler pink for this very top of first grape, and then actually it's a very interesting color there. It's kind of pink, still has some yellow in it, but it's cooler than the other ones, almost like kind of grayish. And there's cast shadow from the other grape as well. And these grapes are not as noticeable as the others, so I'm going to not to emphasize too much on them. All I want to do is just do a tabletop, so the cast shadows will stay. And then I also need to check my alignment on tabletop, so probably will use a different brush. I always have some kind of misalignment on tabletop, so using light color, white, and so I'm going to do this. Then I measure, so my tabletop is actually here. So this way I have to correct my background slightly, and that's kind of explains why this place was a little bit messy. It looked a little bit messy to me. I wasn't sure what to do with it yet, but now I'm sure why it is like this, because my tabletop is lower actually. So I'm correcting with my background color. So this is my alignment. So it's kind of cast shadow goes all the way there. I don't want to lose it, and I will paint over the grapes later, so then cast shadow from these grapes goes here. And then I need to fix a little bit of my tabletop, so the same color, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre and yellow ochre and white. Sometimes talking and painting always for me a little bit challenging. So this is the color of the tabletop. It looks a little different on the camera. It looks a little bit cooler. I guess my phone films things a little bit warmer. Okay, so I'm going to finish the grapes, 2 grapes that I haven't finished yet, and then I will do a stem, and maybe I will look what else I need to do on the other grapes. So I'm using my alizarin, crimson, and a little bit of white and a little bit of cadmium yellow dip. That's kind of color I did, but I put less of cadmium yellow dip, and this way it looks cooler. So that's how it works in painting. If you want a little cooler, you just can add a little bit less of warmer color, and other way around. So for my glow color, I go back to my kind of orangey color. And then I'm going to add a little bit darker color on the second grape that I lost, because it's very dark there. So when I squint, just hold a little bit further. Second, it's a little bit darker, so I have to make sure I don't mix this white into it. And then my overlapping grape has a little bit of dark as well, so I'm using this dark color. And then do a little bit of glow and a little bit of cooler on the side here. So I think there is some dusting here, so my brush is going to split now. So this is my palette with dusting. It's kind of purple color. I'm just trying to not to dust it all completely, because then I'm losing my darker part. And I think this one is not as dusty. For the purpose of that, I'm not going to lose it. And then I just use a white color with a tiny bit of pink in it to do the highlight on it. Do the same kind of dusting here, but not as pronounced, because I hardly see. There is some kind of reflected light falling in the second grape from the first grape, you see. So I'm going to do again highlights for grapes I see where I see them. So I see some here, and I see some pink here. So as you see, I started going through the grapes that I already did. Started verifying, like adjusting my previous colors. So where I see a little bit shadows lost, I'm doing those as well, like on this one, or correcting the shape. Maybe I will add just indication. So this is my palette of the grape over there, but not too much, because I don't want to. It actually looks quite beautiful, but I don't want to do too much on those. You can see sometimes just a touch of the brush is enough. You do it in the right place. Still have to do the stem, but that shouldn't take much of my effort, I hope. So I'll do a little highlight here. So when you highlight, need to put more paint on the brush. Actually, I'm doing it with the wrong brush. Ideally, I should do like a little pointy brush, but that's okay. So I'm mixing tiny bit of pink in it, and I didn't do highlights on all grapes either. So tiny bit here. Some of them more pronounced, some of them not as pronounced, depending how light falls on them. So anyway, this is, I think, the main part for the grapes. So I'm going to do stem, so I'll just do like a mix from this dark color, add a little bit more brown, transparent oxide brown, and a little bit of blue. So it gives me a good dark gray color. So the stem was coming from here, and because I did a, oh, that's a very thick stem, sorry. So not the perfect brush I chose. But, so that's the basic color of the stem, and then I need to do it a little bit lighter in the areas where, like, it bends, and here where the light falls. And like I said, I chose a very bad brush with split. Don't do this. This is something not to do, because I'm just too lazy to go to a clean brush next to it and just make the right color and do it. So never do things like this. Don't compromise the quality for speed. I'm sorry, my dog interferes. My little puppy came to see me. Sorry for the noise. So I'm going to do this correction. And the other thing you can do, you can use a background color. A little bit of background color to correct the stem. So there are two options. If you're very precise and good, you can do it straight away. If you start messing like me, you still have options with oil paint to do different adjustments. That's why I like oil paint, even though I paint alla prima. Like if you do a bigger painting or something, there are so many options like how you can do. So I think that's it. I think that's the grape painting done. Trying to keep it half an hour. Sometimes it's hard because going further than that. So what I normally do as well, I verify and see if tabletop can bring up a little bit with the painting, so especially in these places. So I hope to see you next time, and I will take a photo as well. So I hope you enjoy this painting. Bye.